Edgar Allan, Chapter 17. When I came home from school the next afternoon, Edgar Allan was gone, and everything seemed sort of unreal. What had happened was that our lives in one afternoon had been all put back the way they were a few months ago. It should have been easy to slide into being a family of six again, but it wasn't. On the inside, what had happened was that we had all been hurt in a funny kind of way. I think everyone except S.A. and Stephen felt shorter that night when we started out in the morning. Dinner was sad and sort of funny too. M.N. hadn't known E.A. had been sent back until just that minute when she sat down at the table. She had been late coming home from school, and I guess she hadn't noticed anything different yet. It was Mother who answered M.N.'s question. She told M.N. what I figured she had told Sally Ann and Stephen that afternoon, and what I guess she felt she had to say, since they were both kind of at the table and listening. But M.N. knew the truth. They found Edgar Allan's real family, M.N. Mother answered. They what? The agency telephoned us this afternoon while Stephen and Sally Ann were napping. They told us E.A.'s family had been found, and they very much wanted to have him back again. You're kidding, M.N. gasped. That's ridiculous. Why is it? Sally Ann wanted to know reasonably. If children can get lost, why can't a mother and father get lost sometimes too? That's right, dear, Mother said to S.A. And then she went on, but speaking sort of into her plate, not looking at M.N. or me or Father. Your father and I, knowing how anxious E.A.'s parents would be to see him again, got dressed and packed a little suitcase. That was when Stephen and I were sleeping, S.A. added, or we would have helped. Then M.N. Mother said, your father drove Edgar Allan away. There was a moment which I couldn't describe to anyone who wasn't right there. What I wanted to do most of all was get up from the table and run out into the street and race like crazy around the block after block, just to get everything out of my mind. What I didn't want most to do was to look at my father. I looked at my mother instead. For someone who thought a lot, I guess she had stopped thinking about E.A. and started loving him as one of her own the minute he arrived. She wouldn't look at any of us, but you could see underneath, sort of, to where she was mad. More than angry, I guess. Mostly at Father, for if she understood why he had done as he had, you could see she didn't agree with it. And you could see she, Stephen, and Sally Ann, she was blaming herself as well for somehow letting him do what he did. That's not all, Mommy, Sally Ann said, breaking a kind of spell. Tell M.N. the rest. Tell her what they said. What who said, dear? Mother asked. His mother and father, E.A.'s, Sally Ann told her. Oh, you're right, Mother pretended to remember. They asked that we thank Sally Ann and S.P. for taking such good care of Edgar Allan and for teaching him so many useful things. Most especially, thank you to Sally Ann. We were taking care of E.A., don't you see, M.N.? Sally Ann offered. We were just babysitting, and she giggled a little. So did Stephen Paul. M.N. just sat there, dead still, her mouth sort of opened. There wasn't anything else to do, really. You couldn't start talking about something else then, because Edgar Allan was on everyone's mind. What exactly each person was thinking you couldn't know. I suspect Mother and maybe M.N. were thinking about what I was, what being taken back must have meant to E.A., and what it meant as he grew older, no matter where he was or with what family. What, I wondered, had EA himself been told? You couldn't have told him his parents had been found. When he got back, he would know right away it wasn't true. And then I realized why, or at least I thought I knew why, EA had left so suddenly. Father was tearing the Band-Aid off as fast as he could. He was trying to erase a page in our life to write over the past few months. He probably thought that giving EA a chance to say goodbye to S.A. and Stephen would only bring questions to all of their minds and make leaving even more difficult for EA. And it would have been worse for himself, for Father. Because I knew one thing definitely now, Father would never have been able to tell EA the truth, ever. He wouldn't have had the courage to tell him that the town had beaten him, his family, and made them afraid, made them forget, and remember only themselves.